Welcome to this episode of Behavior Code. This is a very exciting time right now. We're getting towards really the tail end of this COVID lockdown. And I have a couple of behaviors that I was going to talk through with you all and really break down what is the messengers, what is the, the point of a communications training, and why it's a very interesting concept, language and how language programs the mind, that you are expressing energies in your body to other people so that they get what you're talking about and they feel what you're talking about. That words come with it, a sort of feeling that you're using these symbols and these sounds to get across an energy. And when you say what you mean in a way that the other person gets it, you feel a resolve. There's a solution to the energy that were wanting to express. And it's a very interesting time right now because everybody's on lockdown, and so many people, especially in a certain age bracket, are used to interacting with a lot of people each day. And even if it's only 6 to 8 people that they're like working with, but now on lockdown, they're around the 1 or 2 people that they're around like all the time. And what I am seeing as I communicate with so many people via message and calls and everything is that there's an accumulation of unspoken communication. And so there's like a static energy or something that builds up in a person where they haven't expressed themselves that day. And what do you do in this situation? Well, first you must understand that that's what's happening, that the mind is basically, backing up. It's like I don't want to say it's like getting clogged or whatever, but it's like you're accumulating unspoken communication, and it will explode out of you in those first interactions. Okay. So I want to stop there with the teachings of it. Obviously, you can go to the Silent Flute and get more on, the mechanics of communication. But what I want to talk about is really putting your best foot forward, as so to speak. I mean, that's a saying, but like presenting your best self and representing your best self. It might be cliche to talk about best self to your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband or your wife or whoever really that's mattering to you. That whatever you got going on in your day, they don't know about it. They just know what you're bringing them in your face and your tone and your body. And, something that I've experienced a lot in my time, especially being a traveler, so much of a traveler, that a lot of my most close and intimate relationships, both, sexual relationships with women, and then like my friends and clients that have been in women, that, you have small windows of impressions with each other. You have small windows of representing yourself to the other person, that if time moves and you haven't been interacting consistently, they behave towards you as they did the last time they interacted with you. That you're a memory to them based on but you have kept evolving. So it's been a month or a month and a half since you interacted, and they're interacting with you like you were a month and a half ago. If you've changed in some drastic way, they may not understand that. They may not approach you like that. This is a consideration that I've learned to have more and more as, I pick up the phone and I interact with people and I think, when's the last time this person interacted with me? And what was I like? What happened in our last interaction? And I adjust just slightly, just sometimes even unconsciously. I don't like consciously know what I'm adjusting, but somehow considering that, my body automatically adjusts a little bit. And it's nice. I've had complaints from ex-girlfriends about, you don't consider my feelings. Somehow I didn't consider them or whatever. And the thing is I did consider them. And I always felt so offended by that. Like, come on, don't tell me I'm not considering you. I always consider you. But as I get better and better at communication, I see my faults and, character defects or whatever. So where I may have been thinking I was considering them, there wasn't a genuine or an authentic or because I felt like it was genuine and authentic, but it wasn't didn't make a difference. My consideration of their feelings or their state didn't make a difference because that's how deep I was going into the consideration. When you really look through their eyes, which is, when was the last time they interacted with me? So you think about yourself, and then when you're looking at yourself, it's like looking through someone else's eyes. because you see yourself from the outside when you think about yourself. So you're looking through someone's eyes when you think about yourself. And if you intend to be looking through their eyes, what were you like the last time they interacted with you? There's a shift inside, and that's the consideration. Now, that's, I said, a month or a month and a half. Now, to consider a person like your girlfriend that it's been 2 days. Okay, that's in my book, that's a no-no. It's a rare circumstance that you would go 2 days without talking with the person. You might as well not be together unless you're like somehow separated by technology or something, you know, and then you really need to be around each other. The only reason distance relationships work at all is because we have cell phones and everything that's so fast communication. So if there was a technology, that's why, like the apocalypse, my girl came immediately to me, because it's like if you're separated and everything goes down, now you're really separated. And that's not a position to be in this lifetime. You don't want to be there. So it's very important to have regular, really insist on that daily communication, or whatever your level of consistency is, weekly or something, and stick to it, no matter what. No matter what. If it's not the right time of day, if you're really going through hard times, you can always delay that scheduled call that you have with the person. But really, you show up to it, just like you would show up to, you know, you wake up in the morning and you show up to that first breathing practice, and you show up to your alarm, you show up to this weekly or the daily scheduled call, and you show up presenting your best self. Make it be that when you go to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, that's the best presentation of you, because especially if you spend a lot of time around them. So like I introduced this episode, I was talking about quarantine. People are around each other a lot. Notice how couples are interacting with each other. It's totally toxic. And there's a familiarity. It's almost over familiar. Like you start going to the bathroom with each other or whatever, which is fine a little bit, especially for number one. But definitely, I mean, some couples get carried away with it. And it's just like, and I was that couple 10 or 12 years ago. So that's what's absurd, is I know that level of consciousness, and I grew so fast. I became addicted to growing. I don't know how. Honestly, I think it's a benefit of video games, because there's so many levels in video games. You get to like level 53 or badge 72, and it's like so many badges along the way. You get addicted to like, I have to grow. I remember the game Call of Duty. It was like 50 badges, but then you start the game over and you're like a level 2 doing it again, and a level 3 doing it again. That was years ago. I don't remember exactly how it was, but I think it was like 10 times. There were people, they had symbols that showed that they did 10 times through the game. And you get addicted to this, like, what's the next level? There's something to improve on here. And if you can shift that same internal drive of, I want to improve on, you know, on a daily incremental, like, practice discipline. It's amazing how disciplined I was with video games before I, you know, stopped giving a shit about that virtual reality. I started seeing this reality as the virtual reality. That's like a virtual reality inside a virtual reality. Could you imagine playing a video game, and in the video game, you play a video game, like while you're playing, you get it? That's what people are doing that are playing video games. This life is supposed to be the video game, and you've been hypnotized into not liking it, or hypnotized into living and complaining. Like your life is a complaint. And why? You know, because there's lack of gratitude. And where is that lack of gratitude? Is not presenting your best self to each moment. You're going into the moment anticipating that it's going to be a certain way. Present the best self and visualize the best. This is what I talk about in the silent flute. So it's very motivating. Now I give the technology for it in the silent flute, which is what I did yesterday. It was mind-blowing. Sorry, I'm late. That's funny. You're not late. I'm actually late. I started this episode an hour and a half later than normal. But I put up a notification for it, so the people that were there, they knew it was late. Okay, so presenting your best self. So I like to shave and put on my cologne before I talk to my girl on the phone. It's a ritual. She might not even be able to see my stubble. She definitely won't smell my cologne, but it's a preparation that it makes me feel good. I smell like I'm presentable, because you get accustomed to a distance relationship, and then when you meet in person, you have all of these qualities that are not conducive to like the romance or the mutual seduction or whatever it is. And you want that. Even if you're spending a lot of time in quarantine with the person, you definitely need to break apart times and have purposes for times, and you know, there needs to obviously be business. In my method and the IMC method, there needs to be business together. Business. You need to make money together, or it needs to be very obvious that you're making money while she's doing this other thing that, you know, you could be doing that thing, but her doing that thing enables more time for you to make money. And if she sees that, and she's in the business, it's like that. So that's an employee right there, because I'm making money while you know, and, you know, so for her, that means put on your makeup. You know, don't show me that. Don't show me that without that. You lose, there's a magic trick to makeup that makes a person appear more beautiful, so that the inner beauty can be shown more in the outer artistry. That you're an artist to visually represent, to present again, to represent your inner beauty and your inner care to aesthetic and delicacy. And your love for the other person, because I am a visual creature, and you are too, but I am more, for sure. Don't compete with me on that either, because you'll lose, and then you'll be discouraged. And present yourself, because once there's a magic trick to it, and once you see how the magic trick works, you don't respond the same to it anymore. You know, when you see how the magic trick works, you're less impressed by it when you see it work, when you see someone do it. So you're less impressed. The next time you see makeup, she has to do it a little bit different the more you see her without makeup. So especially if you're in rare conversations, let's say you're not around each other as much as you were. She's on a work trip, or you're on a work trip, or whatever it is. Then commit to the daily or the regular, whatever your consistent frequency is. Present yourself the best that you can. Or if you can't, then premise it with that. Hey, I would have done it this way, but you're catching me at this time, and I didn't want to not talk to you. So, and then that just like solves it. And also if you're around each other a lot. So if you're not around each other as much as you'd like, that's what you do. If you're around each other a lot, then allow yourself to miss each other. Do activities that make you miss each other. And when you do come together, do something to freshen yourself, to present yourself, to keep conditioning yourself to do something extra special for that other person, because that's what it takes. It's a respect for the relationship and how much it really you value it. You know, don't call your man a king and then just show him your nastiness. You're polluting the word king. That's not what a king is. Treat him like a king. Okay. So that's the end. Oh, I'll answer this question. If you have any questions, go ahead and type it. I'll check it out on Facebook. We got people here on Instagram, on Facebook. You can always come to this live. The links are in the description for iTunes and YouTube. It's a Zoom link, so I get to see your face if you want to come here. Or you can always mute your face. We got people here that don't have their image shown, but they're more able to unmute and interact with me if you have questions. This podcast is growing more and more. So we have, I don't know, about 15 episodes out now. And every Tuesday you can come to this. Normally it's at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Today was a little delayed, and I put up that notification. So anybody that showed up, it was delayed, but that's when it is. And okay. So let's see here. We got some questions. Is it possible that I won't understand messengers' teachings if you're not ready for them? Yeah, it's possible. Messengers is, the behavior code originally was interviewing people that had graduated, the messengers and the Tabiat program. A lot of those guys, they're super busy at this time, or they're camera shy, or whatever. Sometimes it's just like, it's not possible to herd a bunch of alpha males, they're all out hunting. And so I'll show up to this and give you some of my lives. Like Andrew Brame, great live. Yeah, this is free stuff. This is free podcast, So for the really great, juicy stuff, go to ninthlimb.com. Now, when it comes to the messengers training, and then you're asking, would someone like Mystery from the game benefit from the messengers? Of course. I think you've asked this before. The messengers was a technology for conflict resolution, a communication tech. And then it evolved very quickly into language, word magic, like very esoteric and occult information on the formation of words and sounds, and how the English language is booby-trapped with homophones, which are words that sound the same but mean different, and other kinds of just, word magic, which with interesting juxtapositions of sounds and things that subconsciously is influencing people just by the nature of, phonetics and how sounds, anyway. So there's a whole tech to it of phonetics and linguistics, and anybody on earth would benefit from it because it really lays the I don't know about the blueprint, but it lays out a framework and a map for how language works, how communication works, and then how to better use the technology of the messengers, which was conflict resolution. And it's just a whole system. When you update your communication, it's not enough to just think that you're going to have data, that you're just going to get the information and or one lecture series. It truly is. It's decades that you've been learning to communicate a certain way, and you start putting some conscious effort into changing it, and it's slow, it lags behind your efforts, and you just stay persistent with it, And it's a regular, just a daily revisiting of it. And I'll also say that there's a lag. So even if you stop today studying your communication, you'll continue to improve, but at some point you'll plateau again. And when you start studying it again, there's a momentum you have to overcome to get going again with it. And so the best thing is just stay with it. And pretty soon you learn the fundamentals. And now you start seeing that other people don't have the fundamentals. Then you start to learn you start to put it all together so that your personality, you see that your personality and your persona has really shifted. And you'll start to see where other people, they have the fundamentals, but they don't have the vibe yet. They haven't put it together into a vibe. You put all the fundamentals together and it changes your vibe. And then you start to see the responsibility of it, that you really affect people with your communication. You start to get really humble and cocky at the same time. It's a weird thing where it's like you want to protect people, but at the same time you almost want to you almost want to exert your power, or you want to test yourself a little bit. So there's a cockiness to it. And so you start to calibrate your ethics according to your power. And now we've taken it to a cult and esoteric. So you get a really a karmic perspective of things. Messengers really takes it in a way that goes past life, future life, and how language is really programming your perception so that there's a lot that's happening around you that you're not seeing. And it doesn't necessarily open up your third eye or things. There are meditations and things he gives that do stuff like that, but really it just opens your mind, and the benefits of that flower for years to come. And that's why I'm very confident telling my girl my opinions about who she should be interacting with, who she shouldn't be interacting with, and or just laying out the logic and how I would feel about it. And I'm very confident in that, and where I'm going to set my boundary on how intimate or close I will get if certain communication lines persist, because I'm so confident in that what I have, no other man has, and that it is wasted if it is dissipated among people that I wouldn't consider, that it doesn't contain the energy and the information and the advantage in my tribe. If it doesn't contain the advantage in my tribe, I'm not here to spend all my money in blood and sweat and tears on learning a technology and giving it away to people that are not in my tribe. That actually I've gotten where I've gotten, and I will get where I'm going by distinguishing the people who are for me from everyone else. And that's an important distinction, because everyone else is not the same as the people who are for me. And the people who are for me need to know that. That is a behavior code that your family needs to know they're different from your neighbor's family. That your husband needs to know he's different from every other man. He's different from your dad, and he's different from your brother, the closest men to you. Different from your nephew. Different from even your son with him. Everybody's different, and your tribe is different from everyone else. Okay, let's see. Is there any Facebook comments? I see a couple people here. Don't see any comments. Any comments here on Instagram? Soul Grown, double hundred. All right. If you liked this, leave a comment on YouTube and where is this? iTunes. Sign up for Silent Flute training. That will be at ninthlim.com. And I will see you every Tuesday here. I look forward to seeing you really on the deeper programs. I'd love to teach you the tech instead of just spinning you stories that, are fanciful and really wake you up. And you can come to this all day, but definitely, come to the real thing. Okay, so we got the majorities is asking here, is there a language pattern you've been implementing lately or experimenting with? I've been catching myself say listen a lot. Julie will know this. I'm like, listen. I'm just like, listen. I don't know if that's a language pattern. I am starting my sentences off with the word listen, so that's a pattern. No, not really. I don't think so. Mostly I aim to reduce redundancy in my language, so I try to take filler words out and kind of non-useful language out of my words. Trey Milano, is Messengers finished? Yeah, unless you come up with 25,000, and then I'm sure he would, or 5,000, then I'm sure he would sell one of the recordings. I would say come up with 6,000 or 7,000, and you could get 3 of the Messengers weekends for that amount, because it's 5K and then 1K to buy one of the others. Once you bought the 5K, then you get the other one for 1K. And that's how I would do it. Or if you came up with 25K, then you could come live for 3 days. That was great. Thank you, Soul Grown. Each time I listen to you speak, I learn. Of course, yes. What's Ninth Limb about? Ninth Limb is my yoga brand. It's about communication and using yoga to enhance your ability to imagine and communicate, which are the ninth limb of yoga. Majorities, reduce redundancy. Hell yes. Increase efficiency. Thank you all for tuning in to, we got one more here. Are you doing 2 silent flute lectures this week? I think I'll just stick with 1 unless I want to do 2. Maybe I'll do a surprise special second lecture. We got, let me stew on this. I could see myself doing it either Friday or Saturday. That'd be exciting. Maybe I should, like Saturday. Okay, maybe I'll do one Saturday morning. Okay, second silent flute lecture this week, guys. Sweeping your subconscious. That's what it was going to be on. We already decided because the last one was so good. The one I did yesterday, I just it was really healing for me. So I was saying, I was like, where are these words coming from? But so the next one is going to be sweeping your subconscious, how to clean your subconscious. Let's see. How does the level of teaching of Love Spell compare to Messengers? Well, it's a different subject. So, Messengers is deeper for sure. It's much more powerful, but Love Spell is like an application of, it's hard to really compare. It's like saying these are, here's an orange and here's a very large container of apples. It's like, which would you rather have, kind of thing. Well, some people, I just want an orange, but some people are like, I'm really hungry and I have a whole family to feed. It's like, I really want that thing of apples. It's like you're comparing apples and oranges, but in different quantity too. It's like the value of Messengers is so tremendous. The Love Spell Boot Camp compares a little bit, but it's split among many people. So, okay. Anything else here? Maggie Black Yoga. You just missed the whole thing. It was very sexist, though. My entire broadcast was extremely sexist, and so Maggie, if you're cool with that, I would watch me. Okay. Thank you all. I'll see you next Tuesday. Namaste.